And it will be the former Liverpool striker, Katie Stengel.
Number 23, Chastity Brown. And number 28, Gabby Nunez. Aston Villa.
Off we go there in a big game at the bottom of the Barclays Women's Super League. Aston Villa taking on Crystal Palace. Was a blistering start last week from Crystal Palace in their game against Everton. Indy Riley given the chance to creep into the penalty area after just 29 seconds of the game. Here's a run of games for Crystal Palace that will really give them a temperature check on the season. Everton last week, also down at the bottom. West Ham coming up next. And Aston Villa today, who were far more aggressive than we have seen from them over the course of the season. Last week against Manchester United, they were pressing from the front. And they are pushing in the early stages here, and they have managed to get in behind the Crystal Palace defence, and Daly arriving. Brings a save from Shea Yanez. Well, she is the busiest goalkeeper in the Barclays Women's Super League, more saves than anyone else. And against one of the best in the business here, Rachel Daly, she is called into early action and makes an excellent save. Well, plenty up inside the Crystal Palace 6-yard box awaiting this delivery. It will come out here to Nobbs, who's found some room, and Nobbs goes for goal, and it's another excellent stop from Shea Yanez. We've not even had 2 minutes of the game yet, and twice she has been called into action. Cleverly worked here by Aston Villa. Everybody expecting the ball into the box, and Nobbs draws a brilliant save from Yanez. Another Villa corner, this time deeper. And a Patton unable to turn it goalwards, and the header goes wide. Very good start here for Aston Villa, a statement of intent in the game. Robert DePaul did say ahead of the game in the press conference that his team have to be more ruthless. They have to find that killer edge that they really haven't had over the season so far. But now they've left a big gap right through the middle, and Crystal Palace are bursting through and might be about to go ahead here. And it's two brilliant stops, this time from Sabrina D'Angelo. What a wonderful start to this game. Aston Villa very nearly sliced open. Mille Jensen denied twice. Well, what a response from Crystal Palace, who at one end had some defending to do. And then the impressive Mille Jensen bursting away through the middle. Well, the Crystal Palace delivery is turned back into the danger zone for a chance, but that's way over the top into the empty stand here at Aston Villa's home grounds, Villa Park. No trouble this time for D'Angelo. Well, they do have a tendency, these games between the sides who are nearer to the bottom of the table, to be cagey affairs. Really hasn't been the way so far. Both managers, Robert DePaul and Laura Kaminski, clearly looking to start the game quickly. Nobbs keeping things tidy, keeping things ticking over in the middle for Aston Villa here. And it's a chance to come forward for Thomas, who finds Hansen. That was a clever touch. Kirsty Hansen is all of a sudden away, and her cutback is one that Gabby Nunez decided to leave when perhaps she maybe could have tried to control and go for goal. A less off for Crystal Palace at the back. Here is Thomas. sent off earlier on in the season against Brighton, but back in the starting 11 here. Had a really good start to the campaign, looked like an excellent signing for Aston Villa. Well, again, Aston Villa trying to engineer the move on the right-hand side of the field. This time, something they are unable to do, out of play. And it's a throw-in here for Crystal Palace. Here is Daly. And again, it's a long ball over the top. And again, Aston Villa using the pace of Grant, who gets away. But the cross into the box is straight into the arms of Shea Yanez. Well, clearly, Robert De Pauw has identified that there is an opportunity for Aston Villa on the right. And for the second time in the game, we see Chastity Grant trying to get in behind. And she did that too. Aston Villa have won the ball back high up the field here. Staniforth making things awkward. Mila Jensen is there to steal it back. Blanchard back in the team, doing well. And on the run here, fed through by Mila Jensen. And the flag is raised for offside. Lovely pace about the game in the early stages. Stengel scrapping with Nobbs. Aston Villa able to bring the ball away. And Thomas turns on to Hansen. Burst of pace here from Kirsty Hansen, and she has got the wrong side of Josie Green. She delivers in, it's a good deflection away by Amy Everett. Does concede the corner, but she prevents the ball arriving at the feet of either Gabby Nunez or Rachel Daly in the middle. Another Villa corner. What will they do this time? Whipped into the edge of the 6-yard box. And cleared away, and an effort on goal from Maley. That's easily dealt with by Shea Yanez. Well, we're seeing Aston Villa, much as they did in the season before last, using two wider players and the pace of the wingers to try and cause problems. Kirsty Hansen really is looking back to her best, had a super season the season before last. It was Lehman previously who played on the right. Chastity Grant now playing that role. Adventurous play, again from Aston Villa, trying to burst clear here. Stopped in their tracks by the whistle from the referee. And the injury here to Green, who remains down on the floor, holding her head. Well, Aston Villa were appealing, but there are, of course, protocols now for head injuries. This was the collision here. And it didn't look like a particularly nice one for Josie Green, who will need some treatment here, and the players will come across to their respective coaches for a quick word. Well, whilst we have this stoppage in play, let's have a look back on some chances from the game, and there have been a fair few. Chastity Grant with an early burst into the Crystal Palace box, creating the first of them, and Rachel Daly arrived, but she was well looked after by Shea Yanez. Crystal Palace responding and could so easily have had the first goal in the game. Mila Gahl-Jensen denied by two excellent saves and some wonderful reactions from Sabrina D'Angelo. As a result, we are still at 0-0. Well, when it comes to head injuries, there is really no need for the physio team to rush. They will wait, as they should. An excellent development in the game. Hasn't been seen across all sports. Football adopting an excellent, safe approach to head injuries. And it will be excellent news for Crystal Palace fans to see their player Green at least sat up here after a period of time on the floor. Well, she will have to come across to the side of the field as part of those protocols. And these are the moments where there is such a critical need for attention from the physio team, because you can be okay on the floor and then you stand up, and that's not the case, but it looks to me as though Josie Green will be okay to continue here. And we are back underway, and Aston Villa get the ball. Nobb's touch. Wide it goes out towards Thomas. Hansen scrapping for it. And winning it, but she has to go back into her own half here. Thomas with the touch. Nunez linking up here with Hansen. And there are two on the left, one of whom is Thomas, who finds Hansen. Lovely football from Aston Villa. Well, the question was, could they finish off the move? And the answer is no, although Staniforth is trying to keep the move alive and has won a corner. Well, Aston Villa continue to get joy on both flanks here. Really nice relationship developing between Thomas and Hansen on the left, with helping hands from Nunez. This has been the problem, though, for Aston Villa. Lots of lovely build-up play over the course of the season, and yet they haven't quite found that cutting edge that they need to add the goals that their play has perhaps deserved. Into the front post, where the corner is comfortably dealt with. Recycled here by Staniforth, and Nobbs again has space, edge of the box, curling one in. Well, it was a really inviting cross, and it's one that Crystal Palace are just about able to get away. Well, there is definitely a confidence about the way that Aston Villa have started this game. Nice turn by Daly. And Nunez unable to keep the ball in play. Well, the new Brazilian has clearly caught the eye of the fans here. Chant from the Villa Park faithful. Well, the break was on, and Indy Riley was trying to make the burst until she was checked by the sliding Kirsty Hansen. And it's a pretty lenient approach from the referee, who doesn't look to bring out the yellow card. Katrine Vai with a pass that's well intercepted. Nobbs in space again. Aston Villa do keep finding her in these lovely spaces with room to operate. She's picked out a pass here towards Hansen. Hansen trying to work some magic. Paola Thomas floating one in. And Chastity Grant didn't really judge the run and lost the flight of the ball in the air, giving Crystal Palace the chance to get that one away. Again, it's Crystal Palace looking to hit on the break. Blanchard, not seen too much from her so far in this one. Trying to return the pass in the direction of Stengel, but it was well watched by D'Angelo, who came sliding out. Been a very good start to the game for the Aston Villa goalkeeper. Two very good saves. And she anticipated there ever so well to come out and claim the ball. Everett driving through. Lovely ball. This looks promising here for Crystal Palace. Well, Stengel was unable to find a teammate. We've had another head collision and the referee will have to stop the game. Awkward one this time for Everett. Don't think it was too nice either for Paola Thomas. She has managed to get back up though. Everett remains down. Was missing for a few games earlier on in the season. Big for Crystal Palace to have her back. The captain receiving some treatment here. Well, we had a lovely momentum to the start of this game, and you just wonder how the stoppages might affect that, but of course the players need their treatment. Message has been pretty clear from the Crystal Palace camp and from Laura Kaminski this week. We have to not get too carried away in terms of where we've come from and where we are at. Crystal Palace have started really well, laid the foundations. Well, we can, whilst we wait, have a look at this chance that arrived from the corner for Aston Villa very early on in the game. Neatly worked out towards Nobbs, who had a free route to goal, and it was heading for the top corner until Shea Yanez stretched out and pushed that one away. The substitutes from both teams just having a quick word. It looks as though Crystal Palace are preparing for the worst, perhaps. Brooke Aspin is warming up. Knows all about the battle to stay in the Barclays Women's Super League, of course. Brooke Aspin, after being with Bristol City last season. And despite their relegation, had a really good eye-catching season there. Well, clearly it's a knock. That they have some concerns about the physio team. Two players going up for the header. And the angle that Amy Everett was caught at perhaps made it a nasty one. Side of the head, never nice. Well, it's taken a while, which perhaps gives us a suggestion. Actually, it's taken a while because of the bandaging. Well, I saw the captain's armband come off there, and I wondered what was about to come next, but I think it's just a change in shirt. Well, it looks as though she will be back on the field soon. Amy Everett, with that kind of warrior look that comes with the bandaging that goes around the top of the head. Aston Villa back underway. Crystal Palace momentarily down to 10. Katrine Vi with a clearance away. And it's clever play by Crystal Palace. Blanchard in that awkward space in between defence and midfield. Lovely pass, Stengel free. And what a wonderful save it was from Sabrina D'Angelo. Well, this was lovely football. The flag was raised. Another top save, though, from the goalkeeper. That's a good interception here. Blanchard is the target with the pass. Shielded away by Turner. They are straight onto it again here, Crystal Palace. They have managed to find some good momentum. They are trying to burst in. Stengel looking to get beyond the Aston Villa back line and able to do that. Aston Villa free kick taken quickly by Nobbs. Blanchard was arguing that perhaps the ball was moving there, but Aston Villa went backwards. Paolo Thomas. Drifting infield. Creating the run and the angle here, but Hansen's gone in the opposite direction. No way through, not this time. And Lexi Potter keeping things tidy. Goes back to Everett, who will continue with the bandage. Crystal Palace back to their full contingent and on the attack again. The ball, though, into the box from Indy Riley is straight away with the Aston Villa goalkeeper. Jordan Nobbs doing well under pressure, gets the ball away. And Mailing looking to build another attack. Aston Villa looking for a free kick, but the whistle never arrives. And Crystal Palace handed the chance to break forward here. Early ball into the box in the direction of Blanchard. And that was one that she was unable to bring under control. Hansen looking so full of confidence, finding the pass into Nobbs. Bursting clear of the Crystal Palace midfield, looking for Daly. It wasn't quite the touch that Rachel Daly was looking for. Well, it is an interesting battle on that right-hand side of the field. Lily Woodham up against Chastity Grant. A couple of times we have seen the Aston Villa winger manage to get in behind Woodham, but Woodham this time with a challenge. And again, it's those two, toe-to-toe. And Grant wins a corner for Aston Villa after the challenge by Woodham. Hansen's corner goes deep, and it's well gathered up by Shea Inez. There were a crowd of players around her, but she did well to hold on. That's wonderful distribution as well as Crystal Palace bring the ball away. Stengel coming from a deeper position. And she makes the run, and maybe she will get beyond Mailing here. Well, Mailing looked as though she would have got there first, but she also had the support of D'Angelo, who came to get there. She's really analysing the game ever so well, Sabrina D'Angelo. Must give the Aston Villa defence some confidence, and of course they kept a clean sheet last week against one of the best teams in the division, Manchester United. Grant trying to get there, but Everett is across. Good covering challenge by the Crystal Palace captain. Daly delivers. Ordered away by Everett, only as far as Thomas. Nice turn. Hansen opens up the angle for the shot, but it's one that she can't keep down, and she sends that one over the top of the bar. Well, she lost the Crystal Palace defence here. Effort though way over the bar. Grant spinning, driving, and skillfully finding room. Latrine Vi with a challenge, and then an effort again over the top from Aston Villa. And this has been their problem. When you drill into the numbers for Aston Villa and you look at everything, all of the key metrics, XG for example, touches in the penalty area, shots on target, shots, Aston Villa are high on all of them. And yet the numbers aren't quite stacking up in terms of chances converted and turned into goals. In fairness, both teams have had their moments in this game. We could have had a goal or two. Approaching the half-hour mark with neither team having found the breakthrough just yet. Blanchard is onto it. She steers into the area. Promising signs here for Crystal Palace, who have the breakthrough goal. Mikato with it, finishing off a lovely move. Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 1. Well, she has been such a super signing, Mikato. And she is the difference maker here as she finds the corner beyond D'Angelo to give Crystal Palace liftoff. Well, Aston Villa creating so many good chances at the other end. But Crystal Palace have shown us over the course of the season that they do have that killer touch. Mikato, who was the provider for the early goal last week, laid on the assist for Indy Riley after just 29 seconds. This time is there, unmarked in the penalty area. And scoring the goal that puts Crystal Palace on top. Hansen on her way. Lovely close control. Well, the referee was trying to play an advantage. There was no advantage, and so Aston Villa will get the free kick as they look to respond and get themselves back into the game. Well, there will, of course, after the game, I'm sure, be some analysis, and Aston Villa's coach, Robert De Powell, will be wondering why Annabelle Blanchard in the build-up to that goal was given so much room inside the penalty area. And why, of course, nobody was watching Mikato as she was able to arrive and finish off the move. Aston Villa, again, trying to get in behind, but it's a pass that's slightly wayward, and it's picked up by Shea Yanez. Mailing away from trouble, up towards the halfway line where Nunez can flick on. Daly does well. Hansen's after it. And Thomas is there in support. Good closing down in the end. Hansen trying to turn, but she can't get beyond Riley. It has been said before about Crystal Palace. It's amazing how quickly they have adapted to the league, having only just come up from the Women's Championship. And they are away again here. Stengel is on the burst, and Stengel cuts back looking for support. Support arrives, she can't find the pass because Thomas is there with a sliding challenge to whip the ball away before Indy Riley can reach it. Last season, of course, it took Bristol City such a long time to adapt to the league, but Crystal Palace, well, they look as though they have been here for a while. They feel like a Barclays Women's Super League team. Lovely combination play, and they are in, but it's a good challenge by Daly, who tracks back and takes it away from Josie Green, but she has conceded a corner kick here. Crystal Palace looking for another. While the Crystal Palace corner is easily flicked away. Now there might be a chance for Aston Villa to break. Lexi Potter does well to win it back. And bursting into the corner, off goes Riley, running into Daly. Everett calm under pressure. Now, one thing that Aston Villa do have, should they need it, is a whole raft of impressive substitutions that they can make. Really strong bench today. Noticed that just before kick-off. Missy Bokans, Kenza Dali, Katie Robinson, Noelle Moritz, Adriana Leon. International standard players. Could prove to be the difference here, but as it stands, Crystal Palace are well on top. Thomas bursting clear. Grant switching across to the left, seeing if she can provide something from here. Well, she cut the angle for the cross, but it was behind Rachel Daly. And it goes away for a goal kick. Again, it's good build-up from Aston Villa, again in good positions. Again, it was just that final pass that was missing. Blanchard had made a good run. Patton was there and able to intercept. Anna Patton said after the Manchester United game that the team did really well, won all of their battles. And I think Aston Villa will feel fairly aggrieved that they are behind here because they played really well. Started the game with a real flourish, could so easily have been ahead in the game. Fine margins of football, as we often hear managers say. Aston Villa looking to get back into this one. They have a free kick in a promising area. Low delivery this time. Katrina Vai is there. Her experience so vital for Crystal Palace at the back this season. Turner's touch into Thomas. Nobbs navigates over the top of everybody and plays it wide. And Mailing trying to manoeuvre, but she wasn't able to do that. Free kick here for Aston Villa. Patton plays the ball into a wider position. Hansen has stayed over on the right, has Mailing for support. And this may drop. There are plenty waiting for Aston Villa. Patton with an equaliser of real quality here. Aston Villa level in the game. Aston Villa 1, Crystal Palace 1. While Mailing's ball caused a few problems. Daly thought she was lining one up, and then Patton had remained forward, and with real power, with real venom, she sent it underneath Shea Inez. 1-1. Well, it hasn't been too often in this game that we've seen Anna Patton up inside the penalty area. More often in these kind of positions. She's lost the runner here, though, and left the space in behind. Crystal Palace looking to restore their advantage quickly, and Mikato is looked after. Jordan Nobbs with the challenge. A proper ding-dong at the bottom of the Barclays Women's Super League here. Aston Villa punching back after the early goal by Crystal Palace, and now with 5 minutes to go until half-time, here they come looking for more. Rachel Daly lining one up and skimming the roof of the net. Well, there was space all of a sudden for her. And there were fingertips to push over the top from Shea Yanez. Aston Villa's corner, sent into a dangerous area. And turned away and helped a bit further away by Blanchard. Another chance to deliver one in, another opportunity to go for goal. Well, it was steered towards the corner, and it was an excellent save in the end from Shea Yanez. Really inviting cross, and this one looked destined for the far corner. Thomas denied, though, by Yanez. Here come Aston Villa again. Well, they are peppering the Crystal Palace net. This time, Gabby Nunes. Another Shea Yanez save for Crystal Palace. Big turnaround here from Robert DePauw's team. The goal for Aston Villa, giving them the confidence that they can push on for more. Stengel's flick in the direction of Blanchard. And Patton there to cover, cleared away by D'Angelo. Cleared away by Katrine Vai. Not before the whistle from the referee, though. Foul on Nobbs as she tried to hook the ball into a more progressive area of the pitch for Aston Villa. Rachel Daly ran out of pitch as she tried to turn away. Well, the momentum. Everett wins it. Staniforth gets it back. Nice turn from her. Nunes touch out to Thomas. Hansen spinning away from Green here. Grant does well, under pressure to get the ball away. Combining here with Hansen. Lovely turn. Chastity Grant, wide she goes, out towards Nobbs. Plenty waiting for the ball in the middle. Mailing's ball in, though, is well blocked. And then Turner and Mailing in each other's way. They managed to send it back towards Patton. Mailing again. Skillful play from Grant. Chipping across field where Thomas waits. Well, that is a fair chunk of additional time. 7 minutes to be added here to the end as a minimum at the end of the first half. Here is Thomas. Hansen in. And she's won it here. Kato unable to get the ball away. Hansen delivers, headed towards goal, gathered up though easily by Shea Yanez. Well, Kirsty Hansen certainly looks to be back to her best. Season before last had a really good campaign for Aston Villa. 7 goals, 9 assists in the campaign where they were the best of the rest. And everyone was talking about the fact that in the following season they might be contenders for a Champions League spot. That didn't quite materialise under Carla Ward. Robert DePaul this season saying that he is looking for a top 6 finish. Ball over the top by Nobbs. And Shea Yanez is there and happy to roll away. Nice turn by Stengel. Could think about slipping the pass, but instead she goes the other way towards Potter. Blanchard. A venturous ball in behind, and it's one that works out. Mille Jensen is there. And she tried a flick, and it was a flick that didn't quite work out. And Chastity Grant brings the ball to safety for Aston Villa. Aston Villa finding Daly, whose early ball in looks for Nunez. Never really looked likely to trouble Crystal Palace from there. And it's that quick ball forward from Aston Villa. The direct way of playing that is certainly giving Crystal Palace some problems. And yet Crystal Palace have had such an attacking threat at the other end. They look so dangerous on the break. Makes this a really interesting game. Off goes Hansen. And the demand for the ball was made by Daly! And Aston Villa have made their way through again. What a turnaround here for Robert DePaul's side, who were behind, but now they are on top. Hansen in a central position here with a devastating burst, and then the perfect pass just where Rachel Daly wanted it. She made the call, she got it where she wanted it, and as we know, she can finish them, and Rachel Daly does just that. Well, it did feel as though Aston Villa were starting to edge it. The initial goal from Patton had given them the confidence.
The goal scorer for Aston Villa.
And now they are flowing.
Rachel Daly.
And Crystal Palace might have to be careful here. We still have 2 minutes to go until the break. Well, this time it's a move that doesn't quite work out. Rachel Daly sending in and winning a corner. Well, the difference in terms of the numbers is fairly significant. Aston Villa with 13 shots to Crystal Palace 5. 9 of those 13 for Aston Villa. have been on target. Dominating the ball as well, 73% of the possession in the game in the first half. And it's another Aston Villa corner, and it's a good grab by Yanez this time. Loose pass from Katrine Vai. And Grant is onto it here. She has pace, but she also has Everett for company, and she comes across and makes the vital challenge just in time. Potter losing out in the challenge. Daly coming forward, and that was a rather nasty one, it has to be said. Woodham coming across, and she will get the yellow card. Well, the referee's look at the watch lets you know we are close to half-time. Perhaps the last chance before the break here for Staniforth. Staniforth's free kick goes deep, and Aston Villa nod it back towards the penalty spot. Everett was there, and that will be the half-time whistle. Well, Aston Villa looking for their first win of the season in the Barclays Women's Super League are halfway there. Back to Villa Park, the second half of Aston Villa against Crystal Palace is about to get underway. And what a turnaround it was from Aston Villa in the first half. They were behind thanks to the goal from Mikato. Two quick fire goals though, puts them on top, 2-1 ahead, and heading towards their first win in the league of the season. Long way to go though.
The half-time substitution for Crystal Palace, place number 14, Josie Green, 32, Brooke Aston.
Well, we are back underway, and Aston Villa are trying here to settle into a familiar rhythm. They were controlling the game at the end of the first half, and they've directed the ball into the box. It was a dangerous looking move, but again, Rachel Daly sliding to get there, unable to, and Shea Yanez is the one to gather. Well, Crystal Palace making that change. And Brooke Aston onto the field for Josie Green. Vi trying to get there. And Lexi Potter finding Everett, who coolly slips away from Hansen. And will look to start the move here for Crystal Palace. Had their chances in the first half. And we know from watching them over the course of the season that they have goal-scoring capability. I think without question, Laura Kaminski would have been looking at the games against Everton, this one here against Aston Villa, and the next one against West Ham, to give her a sense of exactly where Crystal Palace are in terms of measuring up in the Barclays Women's Super League. Perhaps will be disappointed that they didn't come away with more in that game against Everton, having been on top last week. Chastity Grant has been excellent here, finding a ball forward towards Nunez. Nunez unable to return the favour. Here is Everett to pass the ball away. Mikato got things up and running here with the opening goal of the game. And on this occasion, she has been fouled and has won Crystal Palace a free kick. Katrin Vi squeezing a pass through. Plenty of Crystal Palace players waiting for the cross, but it never arrives. Too close to D'Angelo. And she bowls away. That's interesting because Aston Villa were dominating the game at the end of the first half with quick and slick attacking play. And of course, if they continue to play that way, in a similar vein, they might leave themselves exposed at the back. But if they sit back, maybe they are allowing themselves to be pursued by Palace. One thing that Crystal Palace don't have that Aston Villa do is the Barclays Women's Super League experience. This is a savvy team, big names. Here is Chastity Grant. And this time she can't find a way through. Grant hobbles away from the challenge and finds Nobbs, and she's found Thomas. Nobbs again. More patient this time from Aston Villa. They were very direct in the first half as a response to the Crystal Palace goal. Thomas into Hansen. Hansen on her travels here, and she's run out of the pitch. Crystal Palace goal kick. Grant square ball into Nobbs, and Staniforth is there. Nobbs looking for the angle and finding a good ball into Nunez, but she's drifted offside. Well, I won't say the scores because, well, I know that people get slightly angry sometimes and agitated when that happens, but elsewhere today in the Barclays Women's Super League, some other big games. And both Aston Villa and Crystal Palace will be watching on after this one and wondering what's happened in the Merseyside derby between Everton and Liverpool. And Leicester against Manchester United is a big game of significance for both Palace and Villa, with Leicester in and around the bottom sides in the division. No scorelines though. Here is Hansen. Hansen's pass is not the one that she was hoping for. Has it back here, finding Nobbs. Room for Staniforth. They wanted the ball back, Daly doesn't find her. Aston Villa looking very comfortable now though. Hansen away, trying to drive the ball into the box, and that's where it's sent, but it's beyond everybody. Chastity Grant able to recover. And the former Ajax winger is dealt with by Lily Woodham. I'm not sure the referee has spotted that there is a problem behind her. Nobbs was down, Nobbs is now back up. It looked as though she was holding her face for a moment. Mailing. Deep ball into the box towards Nunez. And Nunez clashes with Daly. And the resulting chance is somehow fired over the top by Gabby Nunez. Well, for a moment, time seemed to stand still as the ball hung in the air. Daly was there, and I think had a big shout for a penalty. Nunez with an effort over the bar. Good pressure from Aston Villa, doing their best to keep the ball at this end of the field. Well, they don't have to be quite so adventurous in this second half, Aston Villa, although the lead is pretty slender. Patton, who scored a wonderful goal to put Aston Villa level, with a pass into Staniforth. And the angle was there for the run, and Nobbs trying to cut it back in the direction of Nunez. Was unable to find a teammate, but here come Aston Villa again. Staniforth this time into Daly. Off goes Grant. Grant delivers, and it's a bit too close to Shea Nunez, and the Crystal Palace goalkeeper is able to grab hold. Well, the challenge looked as though it was late. The referee tried to play the advantage. Here is Everett. Well, it was nicely worked out towards Mikato, but she was unable to control. Made some really impressive additions over the summer, Crystal Palace. Players who do look as though they are of the quality to play in the Barclays Women's Super League. Mikato certainly falls into that category alongside Mille Jensen, who's been impressive over the course of the season. Really has the numbers in terms of interceptions and tackles. I would suggest that she will be a really good player for them over the course of the campaign. Lily Woodham recovers. Gets it back towards Shea Inez. Mikato wants it back here and gets it too. She's made a really good run and she's just about able to recover the ball, and Crystal Palace deliver in and Aston Villa can turn away. Vi into Mille Jensen. Vi's ball intercepted. Alexi Potter trying to win it back here. They are going to have to dig in here, Crystal Palace. Woodham creates the angle for the cross. The ball in was good. The header, though, from Stengel, the one she would have been looking to find, is well over the top of the bar. Clever here from Woodham. The angle for the header, always a difficult one, though. Well, look at all that space. Hansen chasing after the ball. And she delivers. And Vi's header gets the ball away to safety. And there is no trouble at all with the shot on goal. In fact, it rolls away the wrong side of the corner flag and out for a throw-in. Hillegal Jensen. Back towards Vi. Well, this looks promising here for Crystal Palace. Lexi Potter is forced back. Here is Blanchard. Skillfully done. Finding the angle, getting the shots away, but she can't trouble D'Angelo. And the chance goes wide of the target. Well, it was difficult to find the room with Jordan Nobbs around, managed to navigate beyond her. Couldn't find the target though. Stengel. Heads wide. And now the chance to test Aston Villa. Well, they are resisting, but there is a sense that Crystal Palace are starting to get back into this one slightly. Here's Jordan Nobbs. And her cross is easily saved. Easily picked up by Shea Inez. Well, it was a very open end-to-end first half. It's been a different story in the second half though, a lot more cagey, tense as perhaps we imagined this game would be for two teams nearer to the bottom end of the Barclays Women's Super League. Aston Villa chasing again, and the cross in doesn't quite make it. Well, not in the way that Aston Villa wanted it to, in any case. Crystal Palace able to get the ball away to safety. Time for a change for Crystal Palace. Abby Larkin will be the one to come on here to replace Indy Riley.
Second substitution for
25 minutes for her to have some kind of impact on the game, with Crystal Palace chasing. Here is Gabby Nunez. Hansen, happy to turn back. Nobbs was there waiting. Thomas joining the attack, able to lay the ball off. Hansen into Nobbs. Thomas is there, trying to weave her way through the Crystal Palace defenders. And now Hansen will give the same move a go, and her cutback finds Daly, and there was a vital deflection to send the ball over the top of the bar. I think it was Lexi Potter who got a foot to that. Well, Daly just pulled back here into a position for the cross, and it was Lexi Potter. everyone watching the players who are on the spot, but Jordan Nobbs trying to creep around the back. The ball sent in the direction of the two who are gathered there, Turner and Patton, neither able to trouble Shea Yanez. Aston Villa deliver. And Crystal Palace get the header away. Nobbs is able to get there. Staniforth has space here. Well, there isn't the same urgency from Aston Villa in this second half. They are protecting the ball a lot more often, taking the safer routes. Well, I think if the chance was there to kill off the game, they would certainly try and take it. And they have the attacking power to do that. At some stage you feel as though there will be a big fight back from Crystal Palace, who are perhaps a bit reluctant to be too attacking in the second half. At some stage you would imagine the brakes will have to come off. That's an excellent ball, and this might work out well for Aston Villa. Thomas with a ball into the box. That's easily intercepted in the end. Didn't quite have the elevation to trouble the Crystal Palace defenders. Melee, quick ball. Difficult one to control for Grant. Illegal Jensen with a heavy challenge. Referee is happy for play to go on. And Thomas unable to get to the ball. Well, it's Lily Woodham who is down here. Well, she'll need some treatment. We can look back on the best chance that we have seen in this second half. And it's one that perhaps Gabby Nunez won't want to watch back, because she had this chance that Shea Yanez had spilled and she fired over the top. She was always falling backwards, wasn't quite balanced as she took the effort, but it was a very good chance. And had she scored that one, perhaps Aston Villa would have had this one wrapped up. Crystal Palace still very much in this game. 20 minutes to go. I wonder whether or not they might try to start and be a bit more progressive, because in the second half so far, main priority has seemed to be stopping Aston Villa as much as possible. Wales international Lily Woodham certainly will be hoping that she can walk this one off. One for this game here for Crystal Palace, but also a big month coming up on the international stage as well. The Euros playoff match coming at the end of this match, end of this month, sorry, and the start of the next one against the Republic of Ireland. Two huge games in women's football on the international stage. We're not too far away from those, just a couple of weeks. Well, Woodham is okay for now to continue, has the ball here. And it's a quick give and go as Crystal Palace look to start their next move. Aston Villa have been so good at stifling them so far in the second half. They are trying to create the moves from here. These are the building blocks, but just look at that, closing down coming this time from Hansen. And Rachel Daly providing the run. And even when Crystal Palace get into these positions, there isn't too much space for them around the outside of Aston Villa's back four, who continue to work really hard. Clearance away, though, by D'Angelo, gives the ball to Palace, and Woodham can break. Now Vi. Trina Vi with a deflected ball into the box, and it may drop for the chance. Blanchard was lurking, and Blanchard was unable to get there. Well, it certainly hasn't really clicked for Aston Villa this season. Maybe this is the performance, the instigator for change. That's a lovely turn. Blanchard trying to force her way through. There was no room, though, on the edge of the Aston Villa box, and Rachel Daly is able to bring the ball away from trouble and up into Crystal Palace half. Well, I thought this move might come slightly earlier. Veerden is about to come on. Mila Jensen is the one that she replaces. Well, she has the pace and the trickery to be able to cause a few problems for Aston Villa at the back. Kaminsky here rolling the dice.
Third substitution for Crystal Palace, replacing number 22 in the Royal, is number 11, Ashley William.
Well, there was certainly a pullback, but the referee is happy for play to go on here. Grant gets away from Blanchard and wins the corner. And the referee, well, just lets Annabelle Blanchard know that that is perhaps her last warning. Villa's corner, punched away by Yanez. And sent on its way by Veerden. Plenty of room here for Hansen, who slides the ball through, and there was just a bit too much on it. Gabby Nunes bending her run so that she wasn't offside was really well placed, but the pass to find her wasn't quite there from Hansen. Aston Villa got the better of Crystal Palace earlier on this season in the League Cup. It looks as though they are about to do that all over again here. Unless Crystal Palace can find that extra reserve of energy, that extra burst that has been lacking from them so far in this second half. Ball given away to Hansen. Hansen trying to work some magic here. Still Kirsty Hansen, good save, really good stop. Shea Inez not only making the save, but managing to hold on crucially. With Gabby Nunez not too far away looking for the rebounds. Vai bursting away, and now Mikato. Kato wanted it back. Stengel pulled into a wide position, trying to run the channels, trying to make it awkward for Aston Villa back there. Now here come the Villa changes, the first of whom will be Ebony Salmon, who will replace Gabby Nunez.
Double substitution for
Chastity Grant had a really good afternoon here, full of purposeful running, replaced by Katie Robinson.
Katie Robinson, 17, Ebony Salmon.
This is where we are really seeing the strength of this Aston Villa team. A couple of very young, talented players coming off of the bench for them. Well, all managers will tell you this is where games are won and lost. The final 10 minutes or so. Vital moments in any game. Staniforth bursting onto the clearance away. Salmon unable to control, but it's picked up here by the other of the two Aston Villa substitutes, Robinson. And now Mailing moves on to Daly, she delivers. Staniforth won't get to that one, and Blanchard should be able to bring the ball away, and she does. Mikato in a wonderful space here, and she has support. Stengel was in a really good position, but the pass to her never arrived, bizarrely. Brooke Aspin is able to get there before Aston Villa can break away themselves. Lexi Potter keeping the move alive here. And the effort won't test D'Angelo. Wonderful interception. Mailing at full pace, looking to burst away. And Vi saw her coming and was able to come across and make the block. I think Aston Villa would be hoping that they had a league match next weekend and that they could keep this momentum going. They don't. They will be playing in the League Cup against Tottenham before then heading to Arsenal in the league. There is an international break following next weekend though, so they won't be back in action in the WSL until the start of December. Interesting game coming next in the WSL for Crystal Palace when they play against West Ham. Aston Villa will also play West Ham before Christmas. Here comes Robinson. Nobbs was in space, but the angle closed down. Aston able to stretch across and block that one. Gets there just in time. Robinson driving at Katrine Vi, and she is unable to pick out the teammate in the middle. Woodham tidies up. Vi gets the ball away. There is a bit more urgency now about Crystal Palace's play. They have to get the ball away from trouble quicker. Aston Villa into a good position, looking for the chance to wrap up the game here. And the effort on goal is right where Shea Yanez would have wanted it. Easy save for her. Very dominant performance so far from Aston Villa. 63% of the ball. 10 shots on target to Crystal Palace's 3. 20 shots in total from Aston Villa today. Can they see it through? That is the question. Aston Villa heading for their first win of the season in the Barclays Women's Super League. Mailing skips the challenge. Away from Woodham she goes. One back by Vi. Long ball in behind is the one that Crystal Palace will look for. Stengel twisting away from Thomas. Had to be careful there that she didn't foul Stengel. Annabelle Blanchard now being watched by Mailing. Gets away from the challenge. Here is Stengel. Can't get the ball out from under her feet. Staniforth does well. She's had a really excellent game in that midfield. She's kept Crystal Palace really quiet, hasn't allowed them to break as often as Aston Villa have been able to. And she's been the instigator of a fair few attacking moves as well. Veerden delivers in a brilliant ball, and Crystal Palace have an equalising goal. Well, Annabelle Blanchard has been a big hero for Crystal Palace this season. And she makes her mark again here, just when they needed her. The run around the back, completely unmarked. And what a finish. Well, it was big news for Crystal Palace to see her back in the lineup here today. And it's the same old story for Aston Villa. They have dominated the game again, created a number of good goal-scoring opportunities, but they just go to sleep when it mattered the most. And now a raft of changes, but only 3 minutes of regular time to go. Have they come a bit too late? That's the question you have to ask here.
Please welcome number 7, Missy Burke-Combs, number 10, Kenta Darling, and number 19, Adriana Leon.
Well, this is what we've seen from Crystal Palace this season, a fight, a determination that I don't think anyone was expecting, and now they are chasing a winner here. Veerden into the corner. And she can't get beyond the Villa defence this time. Missy Kearns has just come on, trying to add some energy to this Aston Villa performance. I don't know if you've seen any of the press conferences and interviews recently with Robert De Pauw, but he's cut a relatively frustrated figure. He said that he's sick of performances that come without 3 points. Well, this would certainly fall into this category that he's been talking about. His patience well and truly tested. And a confirmation of the changes for you, with Adriana Leon coming on for Kirsty Hansen, who has been one of the top performers. And Kearns on for Nobbs. Well, here comes the high-hanging delivery. And it's an easy one to deal with for Katrine Vai. Patton, who got Aston Villa started in terms of goals, sends in another hanging cross, but again it's Crystal Palace who are able to get back and able to win a free kick for a shove on Veerden, who was trying to get in on the action. Well, there's the flick on, and one to chase from Veerden.
4 minutes added time. Minimum 4 minutes.
Minimum of 4 minutes to be added. Well, Yanez had seen enough of that. Big clearance away before the pressure could arrive. Well, Brooke Aspin not taking any risks, not at this stage. And she gets a deflection on the ball as well. And that means it's a Crystal Palace throw-in. Kato quite happy to hook the ball up into the stand. D'Angelo. What a risky pass away. Does reach Patton, she finds Mailing. Approaching the final minute of the game here. Well, if either team were to score from here, it would mean heartbreak for the opposition. But it's a goal that would mean so much. Down at the bottom of the Barclays Women's Super League. Oh, what a chance and what a goal! What an unbelievable strike! And there is the heartbreak for Crystal Palace. Undone again by Aston Villa in the final moments of this game. Well, this is an absolute stunner of a goal. Rifled into the roof of the net.
The goal scorer for Aston Villa, number 17, Ebony Salmon.
Ebony Salmon with a goal blasted into the top corner to restore Aston Villa's lead. What an unbelievable game. Well, surely not. Crystal Palace into the box, lovely feed from Verdun. Well, she saw the chance to go for glory, and it's well palmed away in the end by D'Angelo. Well, that would have been drama on top of drama here at Villa Park. Surely Crystal Palace last chance here. And there goes the whistle. Well, it looks as though their first win of the season in the Barclays Women's Super League was about to slip through their fingers. But an Ebony Salmon stunner means Aston Villa do get their win. A first victory under Robert DePaul, and a vital win, given the circumstances at the bottom.